Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a powerful and, slightly extreme strategy for finally breaking those stubborn, bad habits. This comes straight from James Clear's amazing book, Atomic Habits, and believe it or not, it all starts with a pretty dark thought experiment about how to prevent nuclear war.
So check out this wild idea. It came from a negotiation expert named Roger Fisher back during the Cold War. He was trying to solve a terrifyingly huge problem. How do you actually stop someone from launching nuclear weapons?
You see, he noticed something really disturbing. A president could kill millions of people just by pushing a button, but they would never have to see a single person die. The whole decision becomes abstract. It's distant, you know? It's completely disconnected from the actual, visceral reality of it all.
As you can imagine, Fisher's suggestion that the president would first have to personally kill a volunteer who was carrying the launch codes was met with absolute horror at the Pentagon. They said it would distort the president's judgment. But the core idea behind this morbid little plan, it holds the secret to undoing our most difficult, ingrained bad habits.
Fisher's idea is actually a perfect example of flipping a key rule of habit formation on its head. We already know that to build a good habit, you want to make it satisfying. So, to stop a bad habit, you do the exact opposite. You have to make it immediately unsatisfying.
And the logic here is super simple, right? We're wired to repeat things that feel good at the end. Well, we're also wired to avoid things that have a painful ending. Pain, it turns out, is a really, really effective teacher. When a failure is painful, we fix it. But if it's painless, we just ignore it and move on.
And this comparison just lays it all out. It shows us something fundamental about how our brains are wired. We respond to what's right in front of us, what's tangible, what's immediate. I mean, that vague, abstract threat of a lower credit score years from now, that has way less power over us than the instant sting of a $20 late fee that you have to pay today.
Okay, so how do we create this kind of immediate pain for our bad habits? Without needing a butcher knife or anything crazy like that. Well, there's a surprisingly simple and effective tool we can use. It's called a habit contract.
And this isn't just a theory. This principle can work on a massive scale. Just think about seatbelt laws. They're basically a giant social contract. Before the laws, almost nobody wore them. But by adding an immediate, enforced consequence, getting a ticket, the habits of millions of people did a complete 180 in just a couple of decades. A habit contract works exactly like that, but it's for your own personal goals. You formally state your commitment, and here's the most important part. You spell out the specific, painful penalty for failing. Then, you get a couple of people to sign on as your accountability partners to make sure you stick to it.
All right, let's see this in action. I want to tell you the story of Brian Harris. He's an entrepreneur who used this exact strategy to get in shape after his son was born.
So, he created a formal contract between himself, his wife, and his personal trainer. And this thing wasn't vague at all. It laid out his exact goals and the daily, non-negotiable habits he had to perform to get there, like logging every single thing he ate and weighing himself every single day.
And this is the crucial part. He attached specific, really painful consequences to failure. If he missed even one day of logging his food, boom, he owed his trainer $200. And he had to give up his casual work clothes for the rest of the quarter. He literally made procrastination expensive. Harris later said that the simple act of having his wife and trainer physically sign that contract made all the difference. He said that anytime he skipped that step, the signatures that made it feel real and serious, he'd start slacking off almost immediately.
And he didn't stop there. After his initial success, he actually upped the stakes. He added even more painful financial and social costs. Forgetting to weigh in, that would cost him $500. And maybe worst of all, for a huge Auburn football fan, skipping his sprints meant he'd have to wear a rival Alabama hat for the entire rest of the quarter.
Ouch. Now look, even if you don't go and write up a formal signed contract, the principle underneath all this, just having an accountability partner, is incredibly powerful all by itself.
And you know why this works? It taps into a simple, fundamental human truth. We care. A lot. We care about what other people think of us. We are hardwired to want to be seen in a positive light.
So just knowing that someone is watching you, that simple fact adds an immediate social cost to giving up or slacking off. All of a sudden, your reputation is on the line. You're not just breaking a promise to yourself anymore. You're breaking a promise to someone else, and you risk looking lazy or untrustworthy in their eyes. And with modern tools, you can even automate this whole process. Take entrepreneur Thomas Frank. He has a tweet that's scheduled to go out automatically every morning at 5:55 a.m. It publicly calls him out for being lazy and offers $5 to anyone who replies. The only way to stop it, he has to wake up on time. It's a brilliant, instant, public, and financial cost for hitting snooze.
So the bottom line is this. If we make our bad habits immediately painful, whether that's through the social pressure of an accountability partner or the formal stakes of a habit contract, we can dramatically increase our chances of quitting them for good. But you got to remember, the punishment only works if it's painful enough to actually matter, and if it's reliably enforced every single time.
So let me leave you with a final question to think about. That one stubborn habit in your life that you just can't seem to shake. What painful consequence, if it were public and immediate, would actually force you to change your behavior starting today?
And there you have it. This principle of making a habit unsatisfying is the final piece of the puzzle. It completes the 4 laws for breaking bad habits from Atomic Habits, giving you a full toolkit to go out and create some real lasting change.